Hello, hello, and welcome to Paint Minis Live. I'm your host, Bill T. Welcome to the show. If you haven't seen it before, it's a live stream miniature painting show brought to you by yours truly. Um, so it's been a little while since the last stream that I had, and I've been kind of out traveling a lot. I've been doing a lot of travel work, some family stuff in there, just a whole bunch of shenanigans that kind of dropped in along the way, and I just kind of had to um, make some time for usual life shenanigans. The I've also been working on Paint Minis Live 2.0. It's the new website for the show and for our affiliates who you can check out. They're on. I've got the website, the original one, still up, so you can check them out on there. All of our wonderful Paint Minis Live affiliates. Thank you to all of you guys out there who um, do a little advertising for us. You can go and support them monetarily if you want to buy some product through PML. Shameless plug aside, I have been working on this project like off and on, and it hasn't been enough time to really sit down and do a stream since I've been traveling. I've been using I made my own kind of custom travel case for this that I've got these miniatures in. That way I can kind of lug them around and it won't like mess up the really nice like paint jobs we've been doing on them. Uh, but it just was so small. Like sometimes it was like 30 minutes I'd be able to like pull them out with and just like do the edge highlighting on them or like some of them and then put them all back in the box and get everything cleaned up and ready to go. So I just didn't have a ton of time to do the streaming part. So I decided to kind of just cut that out for a hot minute and focus on doing some real life stuff that I had to take care of, and just kind of keep painting at my own pace along the way so that the project could kind of come to fruition. Um, the What else do I have to share about those guys? But they're coming along really well. We'll do kind of some show and tell stuff. I've also been kind of milking it along a little bit because I've been learning like a ton of new, really cool new painting techniques from Kenny Boucher at Next Level Painting. I I finally graduated away from his kind of beginner's course. I wanted to go through that and get a refresher and see if there was anything that I could be doing more or do differently to kind of increase my proficiency in my painting, as well as um, thinking about color theory and other things. Kenny's an awesome teacher, and he goes through a whole boatload of stuff in his like foundational courses. And I wanted to make sure that I got through that. And now we're kind of getting into some of the more advanced stuff with him. And this is kind of where the rubber's meeting the road for me. I'm starting to find some more challenging techniques and ways of thinking of things that I haven't before. So, and I wanted this project to reflect that too, because they're really cool miniatures. The miniatures that I got for the Dungeon Minister and these men at arms guys, they're really quite stunning. And I wanted to apply those to these miniatures. And I've been having a wonderful time. And I can kind of show you maybe some of the areas where I've improved personally as a painter uh, when it comes to this next batch of models that I'm sending in. So let me get my other camera online here so that we can go ahead and check them out. Okay, let's maybe do that. Okay, maybe not. We'll just bring this full screen. I'm going to leave the kind of comment area up there so that I don't miss anything, but we can check out how these guys are looking here while we're just kind of hanging out. So we're going to do a quick zoom in. It's not under the best of lighting conditions, but we'll make it work. Let's see. Where do you got to go for focus here, camera? Yeah, okay. So this is kind of our master model. This is the one that I've been basing most of the like color design and some of the theory off of. It also incorporates a decent amount of information that I got from D&Disability and some of their the chit chat I had with the D&Disability gang. Then we have kind of the version 2 that came after that. If I can get this guy to kind of focus up. There we are. Okay. Um, He still needs a couple of edge highlights on his like little kilt thing, but then I really started going hardcore with some gradients on his cape to make it look a bit more realistic, a bit more flowing, and then just kind of blew it out a little bit with like a really light yellow, and I think that worked out really well. The shields too. I did a couple of different things on the shields, little micro painting. That was actually fairly difficult trying to get all that stuff in there. So we also have kind of different color scheme with the silver and like the armor going on with this guy too, as well as his hair. He's the first blondie. We've got a redhead and a blondie in this group. How's it going, Lightmane? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Here's another example. This guy's kind of on his way to being completed as well. Another example of kind of the gradients that are on these capes. I went through and kind of touched them up a bit more with a brush, and here's kind of the edge highlights on his I guess what would you call that? Like kilt or battle dress. There we go. As well as on all of the armor's been edge highlighted as well. So we're learning new techniques. We're doing new things, and we're pushing the boundaries on this project. I think it's fairly repeatable. It is a bit more time consuming, but hey, that's a-okay. I'm fine with that. And let's see if I can kind of get I wonder if I can get kind of a side by side. There we go. But it's good to see everybody. It's been a while. It's been like a month since the last stream, and like, man, it kind of stinks when I don't have the time to do it. So I'm gonna kind of push myself a little bit in the coming months here and try and get some like recordings and like maybe try to get into some long format videos, because I think well, it is nice to kind of have a live only channel because I don't have to do the editing. It can also stink when I've kind of just got to um, pick up and go for, just usual life reasons. I'm trying to get this kind of over under thing going, but yeah, here we go. That'll work. Good enough. You can see me down at the bottom. So, picking up where I left off with these guys last, I was I put some skin tone down on their faces, so that we could get going. I have a couple of them. I have a couple of them that I'm gonna do maybe in a darker skin tone. I'm just gonna grab a couple of paints here. But I usually start with like Shadow Flesh from Monument is like a really good base color to kind of get going with, but I think I already did that step. The next is to kind of add a bit more of a highlight without going into like the next stage of colors here. That's Warm Flesh. I actually just got down here, so all of my paints are still in the carrying case that I bring them around with me, and I'm trying to find them all. There's Pale. Not looking for that. I'm kind of looking for like a off pink. There we are. No, that's pale pink. Da, 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 da. I had a couple of really good skin tones put together in here, and then I went to pick it all up and shuffled all my paints together. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but like I had them all organized, so like the blues were together and the reds were together, and then I was leaving and ended up, here we go, Warm Flesh. I was leaving where I was, and I just like put them all together in one giant, in the carrying case, and never like sorted them. I just kind of threw them all in there. So a little bit of disorganization comes into play when that happens. Yeah, I've got some new paints in too. We've got the signature the amp colors from the Cosmic set from what is that, Amp Games? Is that what they're called now? They own, what is it, Star Wars Legions, and a whole bunch of like a Marvel tabletop game. But we have some paints from them. Also some more paints from like Vince Venturella, his set. Who else? Yeah, I think that's what we got going on right now, as well as brush on primer, which I picked up a bottle for myself too, just to give that a shot. I might do a bit of a review on that in the future because I know not everybody's got like an airbrush to put primer on, or like has a bit of trouble with standard primers, like applying them with a brush. So I thought I'd bring some of that in to just test it out and give some review as that happens. I'm gonna go ahead and get some tunes going here so that we can get jamming out for a little bit of a paint session here. I think uh, I think tonight's stream is going to be a bit of a longer one, so if you feel like you need to dip out and come back in a little bit later, by all means. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe, I don't know, I want it that way. Okay. So you can see my palette here. I'm predominantly kind of going to be working right kind of in front of me here, just kind of lining up where stuff is so that you guys can get a nice angle on things. Okay, I can live with that. We can live with this. I also have to add to the time crunch because I told Dungeon Minister I was gonna be pretty close to completion already. But to add to the time crunch, I found another model to add to the pile of shame when it comes to this project in particular. This is actually Count Cormac, but in a downed state. So like his, I mean, I guess he's not in here yet, so I'm gonna just kind of sneak this on in here. It's in two pieces. He's got a spear with a pennant on it too. I'll show that off. But so this is Count Cormac on his steed. I don't know what the steed's name is, but this is Count Cormac, the leader of his kind of rebellion to take back his kingdom kind of deal. But this is him like in battle, right? And he's got this little pennant with he's got a spear with a pennant on it. But that's him in battle. And when my idea is that when he gets low enough on hit points, he kind of like transforms into the downed version with the like a really big great sword. And it's the same model, just he does his horse too has a downed version as well. Unfortunately, in transport, the tail got bobbed, but I do have the tail, so I'm going to glue it back on and we'll continue painting it. But he's got kind of a mopey horse that I'm going to give a couple of like just paint on some slash wounds to. And so he'll have the option to use Count Cormac as a downed or like a kind of the final version of Count Cormac when he's like on his last legs, the heroic stand or whatever kind of version. But on to the actual painting that you probably came here to see. I've been shaking this bottle for a good amount of time. I hope it's all right. So we're going to be using some Warm Flesh from Monument here. Their Pro Acryl is my absolute favorite brand of paint. I don't think I could ever live without it anymore. I really haven't used too many other paints since picking them up and kind of becoming a fanboy of theirs. If you're looking for some, we've got some on the site. But I'm just going to go ahead and put down a little dab. All right. So one fun thing I noticed, and I'm not sure if anybody else has had this, but when you change elevations, the last time that I opened this bottle was at a certain like at a lower elevation than the second time that I opened it. And the second time that I opened it, a whole bunch of paint came out really fast. So if you're traveling with your paints and you go up in elevation, just remember to easily open that cap because there's probably a little bit of pressure in there. And if you're only looking to get out a drop or two, like a drop or two, just ease that cap back, because it will come out very quickly if you're not careful. So just a heads up to my fellow painters out there, such as the beautiful Wolf Brother Hobbies. Mythos, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. I've been on the road traveling and all kinds of stuff. I have not been able to stream recently, but it's been good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. I think I caught one of your streams the other night too, if I remember correctly. So I've got there we go. Okay. So I've got a this is just a 18-0 brush, so like absolutely uber tiny. But we're doing faces here, so that's kind of what we're looking for. I'm gonna maybe dip and grab a little bit of water too, just to thin this out if I need to. There we go. I'm looking for a really light consistency with these, with this particular paint. I already know just from how it operates, I guess, coming out of the bottle, that it's already thin. But I do want a little extra water. I'll bring you guys in a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So I've already got kind of the shadow flesh down on his face. And what I'm going to do now is grab a little bit of this light flesh tone that I've got. And I'm going to start picking out specific parts of his face. And when I'm working this small, I tend to wipe just the tiniest, like a little bit at the tip of my brush off, so that basically what I'll have is a nice clean point, but the brush is still loaded with paint. You know what? Might have not been the best decision there to go whole hog. Where are my manners? I forgot to respect the paint. Okay, cool. We fixed it with a little water to kind of get it out of there. I actually need the shadow flesh. I missed step 2A here. Mix a little bit of the previous color with this color. This is actually going to be the final highlight. So, my bad. As soon as I put it on there, I was like, oh man, I'm forgetting a step. What is it? Same, so much traveling for work this month. Yeah. I hear you there, Mythos. We were in New York and a couple hours south of the Canadian border, too. Has been kind of where I've been running around this month. I don't need a ton of this shadow flesh. I'm just going to put maybe like 3 drops on the palette here. Just enough so that I know I can keep grabbing at it. But I'm going to, I need to make that transition from the shadow flesh to the final highlight. So again, just kind of wipe my brush real quick, just on the tip of it anyways. And then we're going to kind of get into it here. I'm going to highlight the nose. I'm going to try and work some in just at the top of their cheekbones. And again, this is like very small scale painting. And then a little bit like under the chin here. From there, I'm just going to try and stipple or like feather in underneath the cheekbones. I'm also going to go ahead and where the light would naturally hit this guy, if I can keep him in focus. Where the light would naturally hit this guy's neck, I'm going to go ahead and hit that with this color as well, just a little bit. But I'm going to intentionally leave that darker color in the shadow of where his head and his neck kind of meet. Just got back from New York myself. My site is just on the other side of the Bronx in Yonkers and White Plains. Very nice. I was over in Brooklyn. Was where I was at, and that was a lot of fun. So now I'm taking some of that previous color and I'm mixing it with kind of our final, kind of like this mid-tone highlight. When it comes to skin, the best thing you can do is keep adding more and more gradient. So just take your previous color, add a little bit of the lightest color you're gonna go with for your final highlight. Just keep adding that gradient in, and you'll end up with a really nice skin tone at the end of your paint session, or like overall kind of face. You just kind of want to gradually work it in. I'm gonna try and leave a little bit of the previous color on the model again. Mainly, this is just going to be a hit on his nose, and maybe just a little bit underneath the chin, just a little bit. I'm actually going to take the previous color I just worked with. I'm going to put it back on my brush here. I'm going to tighten up the line that I just drew on his chin, just so that it's actually quite a bit less. There we go. So it can be kind of a fickle thing. I feel like skin and faces are a lot harder than armor in my book. For this guy, I kind of like how this is already. Sometimes I'll just take my model and it's kind of the take your money and run scenario where I don't if I start doing too much, I might screw it up and it would take longer for me to kind of redo it. So I'm taking the money and running on that guy. Some of them I've had to do, a couple of times to get it right. And that's like A-okay. Just take your time, have fun, zen out a little bit. You'll have yourself a good time. Don't worry. I'm gonna see here if I can get maybe a little bit more brightness out of this camera. Do. Okay, maybe that's something. Okay, let's try that one. No, all right. It's just gonna figure it out for me. Okay. Notice the monument skin tones are kind of a big jump in value. It's really necessary to mix gradients. Yeah, totally. Gradients are kind of key. I think they're kind of adding more and more in, but they're across different sets, so it's kind of hard to find. This signature series paint here, I'm just gonna back the camera up a little bit. This signature series paints here, I think this one's from Vince. Yeah, has got it's got a beige red in it, and I feel like this is actually very close to this secondary color that I'm using here that I just mixed between the shadow tone and the white flesh, and I feel like that's actually really close. So there are colors that'll bridge the gap. It's just kind of reading through their catalog to find them is the tough part sometimes. It's something that I've been really kind of considering for PML 2.0 is some kind of like color picker app where you can like go through and look at the different through all of the different colors just based on the choices that you're looking for. Just taking my time here a little bit. I tend to like on the face itself. If I'm just going to use myself as the model here, real quick. So on the face itself, I tend to, if it's wearing a helmet, I just avoid the like mostly anything that's covered by the helmet. But I'll base it all in like a shadow flush, and then I'll go for the next kind of gradient color, the in between. I'll go for the nose underneath the eyes over here and over here. I'll skip this part, like your mustache area, and the lips themselves, and then I'll go straight for right over the chin and kind of where your mutton chops would be, I guess, kind of this whole area will get it, but I'll skip underneath these cheekbones because naturally we kind of tend to get some like shadows there if the light's coming like top down on us, which is the way I kind of figure most of my models, since we're going to be looking down at them from the tabletop. And yeah, let's see here. I'm going to just mix up a little bit more of a highlight color. I tend to really focus the highest colors basically on the bridge of the nose. So like right here. And I'll tend to try and focus that like right next to the nose, somewhere in this area, like kind of in a triangle for the most part. And your final highlight is basically just like straight on the nose. That's where most of the light's going to reflect from the face. At least that's been my experience so far. I haven't really found anything that I've liked personally to the contrary. I mean, you can always go and find painters out there that are ridiculously talented and they can paint at a 28 mil scale and they're doing stuff like adding freckles. But I'm not quite there yet. Although I do like to think that my painting's quite nice. All right. I'm working my way there though. What do I use for the second tone? Okay, so here's my palette. I've got this is my base color, so Shadow Flesh. The next up is going to be over here. We've got Warm Flesh, and this is going to be like the highest highlight for kind of a more pale complexion. The secondary tone is like a 50-50 mix of the two. And then this is like 75% Warm Flesh, and then 25% Shadow Flesh is the next kind of tone I'm going with. And this is I'm gonna further highlight the nose and like the cheeks with this. I mean, the nose on this guy is literally just a line. The outer cheekbones are gonna get this highlight color. Just a little bit across the bottom of the chin. I still want that other color to kind of come out. So now here's the fun part. Let's put my work under a microscope. These guys are actually really tiny, and doing them on stream can be really difficult. When I was painting these, like just on my own, or if I am, I'm literally like right up on this guy. I'm like really up on him. But it's kind of fun to see them transform. So here we go. We're gonna put him way up. This is like max zoom here. Kind of show him under the lights there a little bit better too. But you can kind of get the idea. You've mixed colors so the gradients, like everything, kind of looks like it works together. Um, let's see if I can zoom it in even further on my end so we can like really nitpick this guy. Yeah, I mean he looks pretty good. It's not half bad for a quick little paint job. And besides, he's a warrior, so like you can kind of just feign that as any little mistake right there is going to be part of. He's just got some schmutz on him somewhere from his battling. All right, so that guy's looking good as well. Who else do we have here? We've got a couple other contenders. I think this guy's already done. It's kind of hard to remember which ones have been hit and which ones haven't. Okay. This guy needs a little bit of a touch up here too. I'm going to back the camera off just a little bit. Hey, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Let me see here. I think this guy needs a little bit of a highlight too. I don't think he really got all of the love. And what do you know? He actually did. Okay. So what you really need is just a highlight there, buddy. I talk to them like they're my friends. That's how you know that my sanity is slipping just a hair. So I'm kind of again off camera here a little bit. Let's see if I can back that up too. The autofocus on this is really nice, but it only works at certain like lengths. All right. This guy's a little paler than the others. And say, okay, I'm just going to go through and get that final little highlight on his nose. Call him good. There we go. Went a little bit too hard in the paint on the kind of in between colors here. That's all right. It's good to have a little bit of variation. So now, I have a couple others that I'm gonna do on my own time. There's like two of them left over, but they're kind of further behind in the painting stages. They had a few breakages that happened, and I had to like uh, glue them back together. And I don't think the glue has totally set on those. Um, yeah, the 1.0 website's still up. 2.0 is actually getting very close to completion. And I've got all kinds of fun things in there for for people for when it does release, but it's got a lot of cool like little animations and kind of fun things that are tied to it, as well as the fact that you'll be able to re-enter the site with your chosen affiliate's link right from the homepage. So all you have to do is scroll down to say Wolf Brother Hobbies, and like you'll go down into the a section for just the affiliates, and everybody's got a little box and with a label for who their channel is, and you can click on that, and you'll re-enter the site with their affiliate link, so that you can come to PML, and even though and you can select somebody to help out. Even if you didn't necessarily get the link directly from them, if you recognize the name, you can be like, "Yeah, I want to go and support Wolf Brother Hobbies. I watched some of his Yu-Gi-Oh or some of his painting stuff, or maybe a Let's Play that he was doing, and like I want to support him, even though I didn't get the link from him specifically. Like you can re-enter the site and just like do that. I thought that was going to be something that would help folks out quite a bit. So, uh, so far I have a blonde and a redhead. The redhead turned out wonderfully. I really enjoyed how that guy turned out. I don't think I want all of them to be redheads. Just for the sake of being, let's see, we could do we could do probably like a black, maybe like a black kind of jet black hair kind of going on. We could do like a brunette, maybe. How many dudes do we have in total? We've got one blonde, one redhead. We've got one, two, three, four choices of four other hairstyles we could go with. I think maybe like a couple brunettes would be two, a jet black, and I don't know, maybe another redhead. We'll figure it out when we get there. So brunettes, we're gonna use dark flesh for that as maybe a starter because it's got a little bit of red, a little bit of brown in it. Maybe even burnt sienna would work too. We could use that kind of to build up. And then we need some like pop, but I don't want it to be super brown. What do I want that to be? What do I want that to be? We could use like dark golden brown is going to be too brown. color selection is always like one of those fun things. I sit there and like I'll hem and haw over some stuff for a little bit. Ooh, golden brown. There we go. Hello, gorgeous. Okay, I can live with that. We've got some paints, friends. I used to be jet black when I had when I had hair. Paint up one in memory of my hair. Okay, all right. So we've got here's the trifecta. I'm not sure which is gonna work out best here, but we've got dark flesh, um, burnt sienna, and then a golden brown. And I'm just gonna kind of homebrew mix between the burnt sienna and golden brown to kind of get a nice color in between. But that's gonna be like our end highlight for our couple of brunettes. Mythos is wanting a black hair kind of do up. So we're gonna go with black brown. I think as kind of a base for that, because like doing jet black would just have very little contrast to it. We're gonna go a little bit further with that. Let's see here. Neutral gray would probably be a good one as kind of like working our way up. We could probably end it with like bright neutral gray, to be honest. It's kind of a gray scale for doing jet black hair in my experience. But having a little bit of brown in there is going to give the grays something to contrast against even harder than it would be if it was like a black. Because and a little bit of color too, something to differentiate it from other shadows on the model, in my opinion. So I'm gonna double fist shaking my paints here. I don't have the nail lacquer shaker set up, so we're gonna like just kind of like do this. It's like when you win the prize drawing for the door prize. Yeah, look at it, I got the thing. But yeah, we're just gonna shake up our paints real quick. La cucaracha, la cucaracha, na 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 na. It's like I've got maracas with agitator beads that are in these. Yeah. Oh, okay, let's see. I know I haven't shaken them enough. If I can see some of the remaining like pigment that hasn't gotten necessarily shaken into the acrylic binder at the bottom. I'm not sure the last time I used these, so I'm gonna make sure they're all really nice and shaken up all over the place. I'm getting that arm workout. Okay. Yeah, that should be good enough for me. Let's start with the darker hairstyle here. And we're gonna do it basically the same way you just saw me do the faces. Dark, middle, light. Hey, what's going on, Charles? Good evening, good evening, yes. And yes, I am having way too much fun with that. Hey, gotta spice it up every now and then in the painting studio here at PML. All right. So I'm gonna put down just a dab of this black brown. Kind of looks like a really dark clay color. There you go. It is really dark. That's a-okay. I'm kind of shooting for that. But I do want the brown. I think it'll look nice as well. Let's find out who our first contender is. I feel like we should get somebody with big old locks. I feel like Mythos had giant locks. At least from what I know about him. I feel like he had big old locks of hair back in the day. What's been new, Charles? Good to see you. Hope you've been well. Tell us all about it if you wanna. I'm trying to catch up on this project here as much as I can for the good old Dungeon Minister. Let's see, you actually need a bit of water. I don't think I've used this black brown all that often. It's actually kind of thick. Thick with 2 C's, so we got to add some water to make it like not thick and more pliable. Okay. All right, here we go. That's better. There we go. Now we're getting the kind of coverage we want to get. It's all about moisture control when it comes to painting. Half of the techniques are just, does it need water in it, or like more water in it, or does it need less water in it? I mean, there's a couple of different brush strokes to master, and there's ways to learn them that makes it a bit easier, but like 95% of this is just, does it need more water, less water, and then just how to apply it. That's it. I'm going to get a little quiet here because I don't want to overlap any of the previous painting that I've done here. So I'm just going to kind of focus real quick. I'll be back with you in just a moment. While I get this kind of on board. Most of the other steps, I won't be needing to get this close to work I've already done. All right. Okay, there we go. So we have a kind of nice dark brown underlayment here. If I could use that term, a little bit of brown, a little bit of black in there. I kind of like where this is going. I'm going to go ahead and put down some neutral gray. Trying to do too many things as once as usual. I put out some counters to set up Hex encounter game for D-Day, June 6th. Gotcha. Got a Napoleon game on my back table, and the counters are almost impossible to read. I'm going to test some rules for 2mm American Civil War and hundreds of figures to prime and paint. It sounds like you and Calvinoni are kind of in the same boat. Lots of figures to paint. Very hot this week. Should probably save the painting for early in the morning. Gotcha. Yeah, I paint in a basement. And so the temperature down here is kind of like a constant 60 something degrees ish during the summer anyways. So, one thing I forgot on this guy is his mustache. He's got a mustache and a beard. So we're going to mustache and beard him up so that he can look all nice and pretty. So one thing I will say about totally lost my train of thought there. Okay, moving on. So we've got our dark black brown going on under here. Now I'm going to mix it with a little bit of this gray. and add a little bit more of that brown back into it, just to see if we can make ourselves a nice kind of mid-tone. Something that isn't going to be too obtrusive right off the bat. So now, after I've laid down that, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start following some of the hair tendrils with my highlight brush. And I'm going to mainly begin to target the ends. So kind of like halfway, but like right next to his helmet, I'm going to leave that that dark, really dark color that we started with. Kind of like, you know, the roots of your hair. That's where we're going with this a little bit. All right. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm going to add in even more of that gray now. We're going to keep this same color going. I'm going to just put in like about 50% more of this gray. So now this, I'm just going to go ahead and start to bring up on just like the end bits. Nothing crazy, just like the very tail end. Let's see how this is looking here. I'll give you guys a bit of a close-up. I tend to move all over the place when I'm painting, so especially when it gets this small. We're just very gradually working up these gradients on the hair. And then we're going to make it like really start to pop out now because we're going to add in a little bit of our highlight color. There we go. Just a dollop of daisy on our palette. I'll see if I can kind of keep it in focus for everyone. Well, hey, there you go, Charles. Always good to have the space, you know, somewhere to game, somewhere to put your hobby. And doubling that up is definitely definitely a good idea if you're a little short on space. All right, so here we've got our dude. We're gonna start to add in just a hair of this kind of a little bit brighter color. Need a little bit of extra water here. All right. Still kind of. Wow, that's a lot of folks. There you go. That is a lot of folks. But hey, it's probably nice to have family really close to. Can gain a bit of wisdom from that. All right. So I think we're kind of nearing our final stage here for like the actual highlight. Um, and now that we've kind of worked this gray in, this should come out looking really nice. We're just gonna go basically along the ridges here of the hair. Really light brush pressure on this. I'm just really just tracing these lines that have been kind of worked in there for me on the sculpt. I'm gonna reload for the mustache here. I know this is out of focus, but I'll do like a little beauty shot here in a second, and we can kind of see the end product. Gonna do a quick little touch up here with the previous little kind of highlight skin tone I had going on. There we go. That'll do fine. All right, let's see if we can get a nice shot of this guy. So kind of a little bit on the older side. Maybe kind of went a little too far into the gray scale, but like still a decent kind of jet black hairstyle going on. And I think he came out quite well, actually. We've got quite a few colors that are showing up. It's a little different when it happens to be that you're looking at it through a zoomed in camera, but I think this looks pretty nice just from the naked eye. Grandson just turned 1. Me, 70 and a half. Hey, there you go. Late to miniatures. Hey, you're never too late for miniatures, man, in my book. It's a timeless thing. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. Bring them on in. Yeah, maybe if I zoom out a little bit, kind of your naked eye is probably looking at it about, that close. If I can get it to focus, there we go. Yeah, it's probably looking about that close. Yeah, not too heavy on white though. But yeah, it's kind of my go-to for jet black is some other like really dark color besides black itself. I think looks best, and then just a couple grays will do it. Next we've got our brunette on the table. I'm really happy to get these faces and like the hair done. That feels like a huge accomplishment for me right now. It's just getting that out of the way. These guys are getting like really close to done. I'm hoping to have these out the door like, man, maybe like this weekend. Not sure. I'm just gonna make sure I shake these guys a little bit extra. Okay, so we've got for our darkest color, we've got this dark flesh. Let's see if we can. There we go. Yeah. All right. So dark flesh again, starting with kind of a brown base. This time we're adding a little red. So if you don't necessarily have that, yeah, start with brown, add a little red, you're good to go. Kind of mix that until it looks like dark chocolate cocoa powder or something. You've basically got this. You know, it's funny. I actually had to go and talk to Monument the other day over the phone because I wanted to find out in their MSDS. I wanted their MSDS sheets for their paints. to see like if there was anything in there to be worried about with kids, and like their stuff's basically non-toxic. Like, I mean, they definitely don't recommend you drink the stuff, but like, there's no special handling instructions. Like, you could still probably like get some in your mouth, but not have like too much of an adverse reaction. They always recommend seeking some medical attention if you manage to swallow anything that isn't technically supposed to be swallowed, but uh, they're not half bad. I don't think a lot of acrylic paints are bad for you per se, but I needed to go looking for them because, well, your boy's got some wacky ideas. I think I may end up start advertising my services for like if you've got a 13-year-old kid in near my neck of the woods and they want to have like a model painting party, I've got all the supplies. I've got all the brushes. Like, so I think I'm gonna kind of become Bill Boy the birthday clown, so to speak, and maybe try doing some like kids parties or at least like advertising that as a service. So that's going to be entertaining. We'll find out how long that lasts. We'll see. But I think it would be really cool. All right. So I'm starting with this kind of dark brown deal. And I'm just going to go ahead and base the miniature in this. All of the hair. This needs a bit more water too. It's been really smoky here recently. At least where I was last week, it was super smoky. A couple of fun wildfires have started up in the Minnesota area here, so we're having fun with that. Definitely feeling the Canadian summer, so to speak. They tend to deal with a lot of forest fires. Um, but the thing that was kind of nuts to me was just how much wind we got along with it, and I think it caused them to just bloom like crazy, which was a little concerning. It was about 50 miles away at one point, but there wasn't any evacuation notices for us, which was good. Kind of trying to get in here on this hair. There we go. All right. These are the fun parts, friends. The little nitty gritty bits next to folds of cloth and other little delicate areas you've spent so much time on. Now you've got to stick a brush in there that's quite large in comparison. Even though it's like an 18-0 brush, it still feels like it's absolutely massive. Oh, you're on 911 Lone Star. Nice, Mythos. I dig it. It's like apparently it's standard indoctrination that everybody in the fire hall has to watch Ladder 49 at some point in their career. And they like do that for all the probies. think I'll slap some paint on 4 giants that I've been waiting for to get classified as ready for combat. 15 mil. Nice, nice. Oh, hey, what's going on, Hellchild? Good to see you. Glad you're not in California. They're wildfire. Tell me about it. I tried to apply for Cal Fire, but you have to pay them $250 for their board to certify to see if you're even begin to see if your certificates have reciprocity with them, which I think is kind of a bit lame. Um, I don't know why they were like all over their news. They were talking like, if you're a firefighter, call Cal Fire, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, we only accept specialized California versions of certain certifications that you have, and you've got to pay us money to review them and see if you're eligible to do it. And even then, if we approved you, we wouldn't be able to put you on the list until like August. And they're like facing down these massive fires that are going through neighborhoods. Like, all right, okay, you do you. I mean, I just thought I'd offer. Um, you know, I've got the certifications for it. You know, I guess call me back. It feels like trying to get like you go through fire school and it's great. And like I had a blast doing it, but then it kind of feels like towards the when you're trying to get on a department, it's like courting a girlfriend or something. It's got to be just right. But it's something I enjoy doing, so it's kind of worth doing it. I don't know if I don't think I will be paying Cal Fire to review my certificates, though. Unfortunately, uh, that's just too much money for me to kind of do on something I know isn't going to be a guaranteed in. Uh, that's a lot of bang for or I'd need a lot more bang for that kind of buck to get in on their program. It's the same thing with New York too. They have a lot of like the FDNY has a lot of stuff that's very specialized to their department, and I can see why. I mean, they work in such a unique environment that you kind of need some of those things not to transfer over because you don't want somebody from Denver using the wrong tools or something like that that like laterally transferred. I don't know. I'm spouting off jargon now, so maybe that's where I kind of leave that alone. All right. So on our brunette here, I've got my secondary color coming up. I'm gonna add a little bit of my highlight to it and truck on here. Yeah. Oh, you guys are great. Yeah. Todd, if I didn't say hi to you, I did see your message. I just am kind of replaying the stream in my head, and I don't think I said hi to Tonka Todd, but hi Tonka Todd, the legendary Todd himself. Uh, this is a state of emergency. Oh wait, we we need you to pay us a lot of money if you want to help. Yeah, that's kind of how it felt. You got to pay them for everything if you move there, but if you move there from other states, uh, let's get that moved over. Yeah, right. Governmental red tape. Yeah. Um, yeah, right. So like, why not? Okay. Yeah, yeah, I hear that one. Just kind of focusing in here a little bit. This guy, I think I've got to nickname him Fabio. I mean, he's getting really close to that I mean, dude's got. I did Fabio have like brune? Was he a brunette too? Fabio, the dude that all like the '70s ladies swooned over. I don't know, but this guy's looking. This guy's looking good. I think we got a winner here. Let's get a beauty shot going. Yeah, I think this guy's starting to really come out with that kind of brunette look. Very nice. Dirty blonde, yeah, kind of, sort of. All right, trucking on. Yeah, I heard about that too. I don't. I'm gonna leave that in the if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all category for myself. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying there, Charles. Down to kind of our final highlights here. Just gonna see if I can pull off some somewhat decent sharp highlights on this guy. I think that came out pretty well. There we go. That's enough. That's another take your money and run paint job right there. Let's see. If I can get. Yeah, I think that's good enough for me. Very nice. I can live with that. He looks good enough. We're just gonna leave him clean shaven, I think. Well, thanks for sitting here and painting with me, everyone. I do appreciate it. It's always good to see everybody in here and kind of hear what everybody's been up to and find out what's been new. It's kind of nice. Also, having a little company never helps at the paint, or always helps. Excuse me, at the painting desk. Sometimes it's really nice to have some folks to socialize while you're kind of getting through these projects. I think so. That would make like 4 dudes to do up. Still, that's a decent amount of progress for tonight. I think. Time is it? About 7:30. I guess I could go through and do a little bit more batch painting with these guys. I've got a couple other things to do. Why don't we go through some updates? Let's see. I knew that I did some updates on Chuck E. Cheese, our favorite creepy monster. I think the last time I was painting Chucky, I was over at Wolf Brother Hobbies with Mythos. We had ourselves a great time just talking shop for a while over there. Um, let's see if I can kind of get a better shot of Chucky here. Yeah. He's got some teeth on him now. I think the teeth kind of turned out pretty well. His ears, painted up his ears. Kind of know, your standard Ratman style ears going on. Um, The other thing I did too is his shield here. I did his all of the woodwork on his shield. Did kind of your standard recesses, kind of mid tone over the planks, and then highlights in certain areas with kind of like a dirty khaki. Because I wanted the wood to kind of get that feel of like he just literally ripped it off an old dock. So that's kind of what I wanted to do there. But yeah, I think Chuck E. Cheese is looking pretty nice so far. I might end up sending him along with the Men at Arms. You really like that guy? Nice. Good to hear it, Mythos. So let's see, what else can we do here? I think I'm gonna reuse this kind of dark flush thing going on. We're gonna paint some boots just to get them out of the way. There's some other things I could probably do with this too. Could do some leather work with it. I think this was originally part of that idea. Okay. But I'm just gonna go through and do some batch painting with these guys. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, now would be the time to just like throw it out there. I'm finally painting something larger than a tiny little face or itty bitty pin strands of hair, so I'm a little bit more available. I think this red will work out pretty well for a leather. Yeah, definitely will. So I'm going to be sending the Men at Arms out to the miniature or to the dungeon minister here ahead of time. I'm still a bit behind on this project in total because I'm trying to send him as like another group about the same size in a different paint scheme. And I'm not 100% sure. Well, I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish that in time, and I wanted to get something in his hands. So I just kind of decided to try and get these guys done as quick as I could and then go back to the other project at a later date. Once they were out the door. Just that way he had some stuff. I told him I was gonna be behind a little bit with it, so but that'll be kind of the next couple of streams that I end up doing is probably gonna be those guys. They're all done up in like yellow or kind of like a beige. I don't know how to describe them. Let me bring one up and I'll show you. It's these guys. Kind of done in a khaki. Same spirit, I guess, as the other models that I've been working on. But totally different kind of idea with them that I want to do. And I've got probably about 20 of them to work on, so okay. Had a chance to speak with a couple other painters at a local game shop the other night. Monday nights have been going over to this particular store. I've got a cousin who's super into Heroescape, and ever since it relaunched, he's like been just all over it. And I got a chance to talk to a fellow painter there that's been painting up some of the Heroescape models. They're a bit more cartoony than I'm used to, but I'm kind of considering about picking some up to paint at a later date, just because I like some of them. They look really cool. Kind of reminds me. There's this new faction that's kind of like Tyranids from 40K, or like they're just kind of look like a xenomorph from Alien. They definitely have that alien vibe going on, but the box art has them in like this strange blue and green paint scheme, kind of Sunday mornings cartoon style alien. And I was like, man, that would look way better as a xenomorph than it would as whatever you painted up as. And I've always kind of wanted to give that a shot, so I may end up picking those up to paint them, just because it irks me that I haven't seen too many people do. I don't think I've seen anybody online do a xenomorph style paint job on that particular model yet. So I might have to pick it up just to paint it. I thought it was kind of nuts how I think it's Renegade is really trying to relight the fires on that that older game. I don't think, was it like Hasbro? Hasbro was doing that. Oh, hey, good to see you. Good to see you, Charles. Take care. All right. Hope to see you again next time. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Hasbro that had that IP for a bit, and recently another company took it over, Renegade Games, and they're trying to revive it pretty hardcore. And it seems like they're doing all the right things. They're trying to listen to player feedback and release new things. They're also releasing stuff from a group of people that have been essentially keeping it afloat while Hasbro was in the process of selling it, because it wasn't really supported. So it was a community-driven team, I believe, that was doing their thing. I think that's pretty cool. I like it when companies listen to their fans. Honestly, I think that's what makes gaming great, is when collaboration happens. That's like the coolest thing to me. Some chill looking Heroescape. Yeah. I saw that they were doing one with like a raccoon or something that's in like a blimp style airship. I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing. It's so outlandish. I kind of want it. They also have some really sick looking like cyber polar bears that I'm like halfway tempted to pick up. And the cool thing about it is you can get unpainted models a lot cheaper than you can the painted ones. So who knows? Who knows? There's one thing about this hobby that I love, and it's the fact that there's always something to paint. Or there's somebody asking you to paint something. So you'll never run out of something to do with this hobby. There is no, oh, I played all of the golf courses in the US, or oh, you know, I have learned how to do everything when it comes to uh playing a singing bowl or something. I don't know. Like you'll never run out of stuff with painting. There'll always be something to paint. Oh, hey, I learned how to play all of Rachmaninoff. Not here. I don't know. Hellchild, I saw your the those really cool kit bashes you did. They look really sick. I really want to see what those look like painted up, because those were some really cool kit bashes. I dug that, like, to know tomorrow. I didn't know that you could make a Space Marine look even more hardcore, but somehow you managed to pull it off, friend. I'm really good at painting bad guys. I'm just realizing this. Like, I always want to make good guys look so, well, I guess good. Want to do all of the highlights and all like the cool little anything that I can pull out of the bag to make it look sicker. I always want the good guys to look like really on point. But the bad guys, on the other hand, you can kind of cheese it with like some weathering products, or you can do things like yeah, you can really cheese it with weathering products for sure. Washes is another one. But you can kind of follow a pretty grungy paint style when it comes to bad guys, because you want them to look like dirty and intimidating and blah blah blah. But the good guys, on the other hand, you want them to look like storybook heroes. My paint backlog is monstrous. Nice, nice. I think mine is too. I have I have yet. I honestly, I painted with Mythos, and we still have yet to do. Um, I can't stop adding new armies. You're trapped, Mythos. GW's got you by the throat. I know the feeling. Um, but I was over on. I was over with Mythos the other night, and I've got. We still haven't done the paint and compare thing. I was hoping to do that at some point. I haven't put that on the books. Uh, I've got a BattleTech starter box I wanted to do some stuff with. I've got Halo Flashpoint that I have cracked essentially just to look at the models. Um, I've got Dungeons and Lasers that Cal sent me. I haven't even worked through all of that yet. And now I want to go paint Heroescape stuff. I think it's time to maybe temper my uh temper the little gremlin that lives in my wallet that apparently has addiction to plastic. That's something I got to work through. I think I got to kind of like slow down on the consumer therapy end of modeling. Still looking forward to that. Yeah, I know. I know, man. I know. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. It's coming, man. It'll be around the corner when she comes. It's like summer hits here in Minnesota, and there's just so little of summer to be had that everybody and their mother wants you to do something and like go and do something outside, because you're kind of trapped inside for like 10 months of the year. Well, it's not that much, but feels like it. So you end up kind of sometimes it's even super spur of the moment, and you're just like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm going over here. It's not like every day you can walk to the park, especially when there's like 20 feet of snow on the ground. Practically, I'm exaggerating heavily here. I really enjoy Minnesota, and I can't rip on it too hard. But I can definitely rip on the weather because everybody else does here too. I think a decent amount of our state population leaves to go visit Mythos down in Texas, or maybe Bill Sylvie down in Florida. I think there's a decent amount of them that just straight up leave. And then they come back in the summertime and they're like, oh, I love Minnesota. Yeah, but you don't really put in the effort, do you? You don't go out there with the snowblower and deal with that crap. Snow and mosquitoes. Minnesota. Gotta love it. Is that a wet palette? Yeah, this is the Red Grass Games wet palette. So kind of like extra large version. I've been enjoying it. I've kind of been waiting to do like a full on kind of review of it. Seen a lot of people use this particular palette. I also have the Game Envy wet palette. I've been really enjoying this one though because they do give you extra mats for it, or like the piece that you lay over it. They give you an extra, like a bunch of extra of these. But what it actually is it's like a poly coated membrane. Um, so it's kind of like an absorbent membrane on the back side, and then on the top side, it's kind of shiny. And you put the paint on there, and then when you're done with your session, you can peel it off, and then literally bring it to the sink and just like wipe it off with your hand, and like have all the paint go down the drain, and you can reuse it. Whereas the um, what is it? The exemplar wet palette from Game Envy, excuse me. That one's just paper based, so you have to throw that one away when you fill it up, as opposed to this, where you can get. I'm on use number like 6 for this particular membrane. So yeah. Oh hey, well have a good night there, Mythos. Thanks for tuning in. Always good to see you. Hope you have a wonderful dinner with your lovely lady, and take care. All right, mate. Mate, that's a new one for me. All right. So we got some boots done. Man, these guys are actually coming along pretty well. I'm hoping to have them done very soon. I am like a week behind on this project. It's just killing me over here. Um, where's our? Let's see if I've got some. What was it white gold? I think was the metallic I used for their shields, and I really liked it because it wasn't too far off from silver. And I've already done all their weapons and armor in silver. So if I can find some white gold, that would be like perfect. There's copper. Ah, here we are. Metallics have moved. Bright gold, rich gold. It's funny how some of my paints have walked away on me over the course of time here. I know I'll find them somewhere. It's just like they just run around the studio sometimes. I'll pick them up and bring them over here or over there and do X, Y, and Z with them. Ah, here we are. Light bronze? What? That ain't it either. Do. Hmm. That's strange. I would have thought I would have had something in here. Well, that's all right. Pardon me. One moment. Might have to look into one. They're good for longer painting sessions, as well as doing things like if you're gonna do blending and other works where you want to do gradients with it. It'll keep smaller pools of paint uh, workable longer, which I find super helpful, especially when it comes to doing things like faces and uh, I guess capes, anything you're going to apply a gradient to, because you'll often be working in between colors, like I've done here, like I've done here, like I've done there. And having that small amount of paint stay hydrated is pretty key with some of those techniques. But if you're just basing your model, I would highly recommend. They have these little. I used them for the longest time. Like everything is running away from me on the paint desk. Here we are. Here it is. I haven't cleaned this one yet, but they have from Turbo Dork. They have these little silicone guys, and if you're just like in the beginning stages of your project, and you're just like, okay, this part needs to be green, that part needs to be blue, blah blah blah, and you're like on the road, or you just don't want to deal with having a full length massive deal like this, you get one of these silicone um, pallets from Turbo Dork for super cheap. And like when you're done using them, you can literally just like, you see how the paint just breaks apart on that? I'm not going to do it over my palette because I don't want the chips in the board, but you essentially can like crack the paint out of it once it's dry and throw it in the garbage. Just scrape it out with your finger a little bit like that. Just use a little friction, and you'll basically get it on your finger and like wash your hand off. And now you've got a clean palette that's ready to go. And I've really enjoyed these for when I'm just like, I'm going to do something quick and dirty and I'm not going to be around for like more than a half an hour. They're absolutely wonderful. Again, those are from Turbo Dork. I really like them. I have lost that bright gold and it's really annoying. So we're going to go with light bronze instead. I hope this is going to be close enough for their shields. I think I used like a white gold, I think it was called. It's a metallic for them. We got 5 live chat lounge cats. It's good to see everybody here over on PML. If you haven't been here before, say hello. We don't bite. I've got some business cards now. That was fun. Kind of expensive, but I think they turned out really well. I don't think I want to show them totally off. I don't want to just give away all my info on the internet here. Let's see. Okay. But I do have some business cards. I'll show you the backside. It's got our logo on it and it looks really cool. Kind of, nice little thing. Makes it feel a little bit more official. If you do see me and you do want my business, like PML business card, and I'm just out in the wild, feel free to ask me for one. But it's got some information on there for folks that, if you want to contact me. It's got some other information on there that I don't really want to share live on stream here. Okay. So we've got a little bit of this. Oh, man, okay. It needs a little bit more mixing, I see. There we go. Now we're kind of incorporated. It was kind of funny the other day. One of the drawbacks with this wet palette, depending on the types of paint you use, after like a really extended amount of time, because I've had it where I could come back to a palette like the next day and keep painting with the same colors I was using the previous day because they're still hydrated, because the membrane has a sponge under it and the sponge is wicking moisture up off of the bottom of the palette. And it's managed to keep the paint moist enough, but you have to remix the paint because it'll separate away from the pigment will separate away from the acrylic binder that's holding the pigment on there, and which eventually creates a nice solid protective layer on your miniatures to keep the paint from actually coming off. Well, I hadn't mixed it very well, and it was literally, the paint was literally sliding off the model because all it was water and pigment. There was no acrylic in there to actually have it adhere to the model. It was the strangest thing. I thought I had messed up the priming or something and had gotten like super hydrophobic, and I was totally wrong. It was what was happening there was just there was no acrylic binder in it, and it was the strangest thing. Kind of interesting, not gonna lie, but kind of cool to see. Something I haven't really experienced too much before. I mean, I've experienced models that are, they say they're pre-primed, but their primer is actually kind of hydrophobic. So you have to basically use paint that's right out of the pot to paint those kinds of models because they're not actually going to take your paint very well. But I just had not experienced the parts where it's never stuck. So I'm just doing a little bit of edging here on the shield, the trim, I should say, before everybody's mind just goes straight to the gutter. But I'm doing the shield trim here, doing it in this light bronze. Trying to be quite careful here. I've worked hard to get this gradient on the shield totally good to go, but let's see, can we get, there we go. Now we're in focus. It's been interesting seeing how just one other shade of metallic can really spice things up on a mini. Just taking my time here, trying to avoid things I've already painted and trying to bring it home. I think that's looking quite nice. It's close enough to some of the other colors. I don't think it's too far off to what I've used already. So I'm going to take that as a win. It kind of works itself in. I'm sure there was, uh, various amounts of discrepancies in the various types of metals used in medieval style weapons, depending on where you got your ore from and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to be too much of a stickler on that front. That is way wet. There we go. So if you like what you see tonight, if you could do me a favor and do the YouTube things, all the usual stuff that people tell you to do on YouTube. If you could do them for me, I'd appreciate it. No stress though. I tend to keep it pretty low key around here when it comes to that kind of stuff. But most of the time, other people remind me that I should do it. All right. I think I'm going to go through how many dudes don't have trim on their shields. I think this is literally kind of the last one that I need to do tonight with the shield trim. I got a couple other sections of stuff done on these guys, so um, I think after this is done, I'm gonna maybe we'll just do a quick question and answer session if you have any, and then I'll probably wrap the stream up from there. All right, good enough for me. That guy still needs to get his tree and crest and crown all painted up too. Something I'm a little bit behind on. Eventually, his shield will look similar to this guy's here. That'll kind of be the there we go. I gotta remember everything's kind of mirrored in reverse here. I'm trying. Let's see. Yeah. I'll just back it up and bring him closer to the camera. There we go. That'll work too. So yeah, there you go. That shield will look like the other guys eventually. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of wrap up my work area here and get things ready for the next time I'm able to get down here to stream. I'm in town for a little bit here, so may as well save my pains. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, anything you saw tonight, or just in general. I guess I'm a pretty open book to many things. But yeah, shoot away if you've got any. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself back up here. Remove that, and then we'll bring out the chat. There we go. Good enough. Yeah. So this project is getting very, very close to completion. I think it's now just down to like some super nitty gritty details. I've got two dudes to kind of got two dudes that needs their hair done. One guy with a shield that needs to be done, and then it's basically down to a couple other colors for like their gloves and their sword, like the leather on their stuff, and then giving them some basing material on them, and they're gonna get packaged and shipped out to Canada. So very close. Hopefully, hopefully by Friday. That's what I'm shooting for. So, like, fingers crossed. Cross your fingers for me if you can. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, I did find kind of this was cool. This was kind of cool. So Miss PML is super into Skyrim, and she's been holding out on me like for a while. She's got, check this out. It's a book. Like, I stumbled across this and I was like, oh man, oh, this is gonna be great, because I think let me see. I think I asked this, but what 40K faction would you want bashed the most? Oh, dude, that's a good question. Um. Oh, that is a good question. I've done some like Death Guard stuff in the past, but I think I really enjoy like Chaos Space Marines in general. Just anything Chaos Space Marines is like up my alley. Give me all the spiky bits. I love them. Um, especially yeah, the skull motif is huge for me with them. I don't know, they just look sick. Like demon versions of Space Marines are cool. So I'd say yeah, Chaos Space Marine would be the faction that I'd want to see you bash up really hard. I'm gonna bring in my second camera actually one more time. Um, let's see here. Let's see if I can get switch this out. Yeah, so Miss PML has this book, this Skyrim book, and I haven't seen this before. But then again, I wasn't of the era when this, like, I guess it was like their legendary edition or whatever came out. But it's basically all of the artwork from the Skyrim game. They've got like sketches in here and like all kinds of, various um areas that are kind of in the game, unreleased stuff they put in here. They've got different areas of the world. I'm just really randomly flipping through here. What I want to see is the like character art. This is the world section. Creatures too is like another big one. So they have like here's like the 3D image of or render of it, and then like you've got all of this. This is kind of how I picture some of the Horde of the Damned models, even though they're not really like that. That's kind of I really wanted to go with this kind of scheme for them, something super dark and like matching that, and being able to like look at this for some of these materials because I feel like it's really important to have reference materials, and like Skyrim is just such a classic that in my mind anyways for their art style that this would definitely be the way that I would want to try and paint some stuff. What Legion? Red Corsairs. Well, that's not really a Legion. That's kind of like a war band, I guess. Yeah, Red Corsairs though is what I have out of my 40k army. But yeah, so she's been holding out on me. I was like, I need to borrow that for a little bit, please. And she was like, yeah, go for it. Let's see. This guy's a little beat up, but here's a really needs a dusting. But out of 40k, here's a Red Corsairs tank that I've got with your boy on it. He's got his little let's see. This is a Rhino, I think, is what it's called. Yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at all my 40k stuff, but yeah, and he's got his little red fist on there. Dude's looking real nice. But yeah, red Corsairs. Yeah, there. That's actually a better picture of it. Here's the kind of like marking. Let's see if I can. Yeah. So the other fun thing about Chaos Space Marines is you don't have to dust their models. The dust is part of the aesthetic. But yeah, I'm like huge on the red Corsairs. I've got a couple other bad boys that are sitting upstairs, chilling that are red Corsair too. I've got like a squad of them, I think, that are ready to go. But they're super fun. I like them. They're not really totally. I don't think they're really uh, totally on board with any particular chaos god. They're just kind of pirates. It's like yo ho ho and a bottle of rum for them, and that's just what they do. So I'm like super on board with that though. I like that kind of deal they've got going on. Uh, I have two of those, two of like the art books for Diablo. Gotcha. Yeah, Diablo is another one that I'd like to pick up. To be honest, like that that has a huge pull culturally too. Um, skeletal death guard rather than bloated. I don't know. I think you've probably seen these guys before, but these are the PML Poxwalkers that I did up a while back. Let's see. Can I get you to like maybe maximize? There we go. Okay. Here we are. So yeah, these guys I really had a good time painting. These Poxwalkers out of Nurgle. Nurgle's the Death Guard, excuse me. The Renegades, yeah. Yeah, definitely a Renegade chapter or whatever you want to call them. But these guys turned out super awesome. I wanted them to have kind of that jaundicey feel to them. Where's my shoot? I don't have my other dudes. Where did my other Chaos Space Marine go? That was down here. I don't know. I'll bring him down at some point, but here's another one of our 40K editions here. Another Poxwalker. These guys turned out just way too good. But I've done a whole bunch of Nurgle stuff. Got a couple Champions of Chaos down here. Kind of Iron Warrior style a little bit, but could be anyone, really, depending on how you paint them. But that was like a really long time ago. I did this kind of all metallic paint scheme. I think it turned out really well, though. Last but not least, I think, do I have another? Yeah, last but not least, this was like one of the first 40K models I had done in Black Legion. This is like way back in the day. I managed to put a couple of different colors on him. He was a spray can of like Krylon black. I tried to do the trim the best I could. The cape was just one coat of red because I didn't have any other colors. It was just like red. I didn't even get to the bolt gun on his backpack. He's got a decent a decent face. I managed to poke his eye with some color that looks halfway decent. So, not bad for a first attempt, but I ended up getting better along the way. And I think that's I keep him around to remind me that I keep improving constantly. And that's the biggest thing, right? Is just make sure that you're improving as time goes on. Let's see if we can get a little focus here, would be great. There we are. Well, thanks everyone for joining me. It's much appreciated. I had a lot of fun reconnecting with everyone. I'm sorry it's been a while since the last time I've been streaming. It just happens that way sometimes. But the shop's always online. It's always working. I just get, I get notified from my phone to fill your orders. We've got a whole bunch of paints back here if you're looking for some, as well as brushes and all kinds of crazy stuff. So stop by the PML store and find an affiliate, and then go to their YouTube channel and find out what their link is and re-enter the store from there so that you can support them as well. Anywho, I'm Bill T with Paint Minis Live here. Thank you very much again for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye-bye.